but it wouldn't be nothing without a woman or girl. Ooh, you see, man made the car to take us over the road. Man made the train.
Testing. 1, 2, 3. Purpose and passion loading. It's my time.
Happy Friday, ladies and gentlemen. We're up, fam. It's good to see y'all.
It's good to be seen, Doc.
Yes, everybody have a good week.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. And listen, always love being in the room with you powerful people. Ladies and gentlemen, we are the King's Cutting Board. Happy Friday to each and every one of you. Listen, we appreciate you tuning in. We know that there's so many things that you could be doing with your time. We're grateful that you chose to spend a little bit of it with us. We'll start off with brief introductions. I go by Victor Vaughn. The gentleman immediately to my left is
Caprice Davis, also known as Don Chico.
Close one big deal. Now you something else, man. Bruce Bailey, you choir boy. Y'all know what it is. Let's go.
And the lady at the counter tonight is?
I'm Coach Princess D.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you do not know, Coach Princess D is the glue, the brains, the mastermind behind this operation. She is also our executive producer. She absolutely keeps us in line and makes each of us better. Collectively, we are the King's Cutting Board, ladies and gentlemen. We came together for the express purpose of making a difference. Our platform was one where we're three gentlemen who decided to come together based on Coach Princess D's recommendation. She said, you all need to share your voices. People need to hear what it is that you have to say, especially women, because she thought we had the ability to articulate the thoughts, the fears, the emotions, the concerns of men in a way in which we generally do not hear them. And so when we decided to do that, we said, if we were going to do it, we were going to do it and be different than what else is out there in terms of all the content, which ends up in a whole lot of finger pointing, right? There's a whole lot of content out there that talks about what men don't do, what women aren't, right? And what should be going on. And we decided to come about this in a different manner. We wanted to hopefully cause people to lean in, right? To lead with understanding, to lean into one another and talk to each other lovingly, than far more at each other with negative energy, knowing that it would make us better as a people. And so with that said, sometimes the topics we talk about, gentlemen, they're funny. Sometimes they're interesting.
Definitely.
Sometimes they're powerful. Sometimes they're poignant, but we always believe that they are positive. So before we get into it this evening, we would greatly appreciate it if you would if you would follow, and if you would not only like and follow, but if you would also share. We're better as a community when we aren't the only voices speaking. We are up on Facebook. You can subscribe at Kings, Kings Board, Board. YouTube, you can also find us at the Kings with the S, Cutting Board 2024. We want to hear from you. We want your feedback on the things about that we talk about. We also want to know what you want to talk about, right? And because we are better as a community. Real quick, gentlemen, before we get into the topic this evening, we got a birthday girl in the building. We got to pay homage where respect is due. The Queen has a birthday. Definitely. She recently celebrated. So listen, I did. We so appreciate everything that you are to us in every capacity.
Good. 56.
You're this gentleman's wonderful wife.
Right? I know.
Corporate executive extraordinaire, phenomenal mom, entrepreneur, leader, minister / executive producer / You're not gonna tell him your new nickname. We'll leave.
Yeah.
And he always brings something negative. That's your problem now. Y'all, I'm gonna be replacing Caprice pretty soon. If you want to vote, put a 10 in the chat. If you prefer I be on the podcast than Caprice, put a 10 in the chat.
So to that point, while we're live, please participate in the chat as we go along. So family, this evening's topic has been, we've literally been talking about this for a whole entire week
Absolutely.
before we got to today. So what our audience may or may not know is, so typically the hour or so we spend in front of the camera is a small portion of the mature conversations that we literally have all day, every day.
Every day.
And we're all better off for it. I mean, I have to give you all props. I found myself recently in a committed relationship, and I love the fact that I'm the best version.
You got a girlfriend?
That needs to be a whole episode by itself. What do you call your significant other on the other side of 40? That's not gonna come. That's not gonna come out my mouth, right? But I'm the best version of myself because of these conversations that we have about love, about relationships, about maturity, about listening, about difficulties, confrontation, right? Disagreement, spirituality, and all of these things. So this week, I don't even know how it came up, right? But tonight's topic, ladies and gentlemen, is the S word.
The S word.
The
Ooh,
S word.
That sounds a bad word already.
Yes, the
Right,
S word.
right.
That's
So
a
what's
bad
the lead
word already.
So let me ask. So was it the post that I put up, the video post that I put up?
That
or
was the tandem post.
Was it
yes.
something before that? I don't know.
I can't
Which
recall.
I just know.
I can't recall.
Yeah.
I just know I said I wanted to be led. I was led to start the chat.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's when it all
It just spread like
exploded.
fire.
Organic.
yeah,
It
it
exploded.
Absolutely.
I think it
exploded.
unraveled. I see it as unraveling because it allowed me to look at the word submission in so many different angles.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know if it exploded.
Well, when I say
was
exploded,
already
I'm
explosive.
talking about just
It spread.
The engagement.
just the
energy.
engagement, the
Yeah, I
energy
would
behind
I
it.
can see that.
You know,
Yeah,
what?
yeah.
Because to your point, we found a lot of confusion.
Yes.
We found some people that were they weren't incorrect, but they were incomplete.
Absolutely. Love the way you said that.
You know, we found just ignorance, if you will,
Yeah.
right? And I think it allowed us to even take an introspective on the word and how we approach.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because
The
be
word
clear,
as well.
there was a level of ignorance on our part.
Oh,
as well.
absolutely.
Yeah. So
As a matter of fact-
we're not exempt.
No, you're right. And I think, matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, you pointed that out.
Yeah. We're
And I
first
think-
partakers in everything
Right.
we talk
Absolutely.
about.
Right,
Yeah, because
right.
I think in the chat you said something to the extent that you correct me if I'm wrong. Something to the extent of a lot of people do it, not really knowing how to do it.
Absolutely.
You follow what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So that's kind of where we are tonight. We want
Yeah.
to really enlighten you guys. We want to shed some light on exactly what this word means and really how to better utilize and manage the word,
Absolutely.
right? Because there's a responsibility that comes along
Serious.
with the word, a serious
Yeah,
responsibility.
So which one of you came prepared to give the foundations?
I
I'm
think-
gonna set the table and then we're gonna
Okay.
hand it off.
We need
to-
some foundations.
So Coach Princess led into it. And so the S word is submission. And there's certain words that when you say
The
them,
trigger words.
people literally
trigger
like the
words.
hair.
Yeah,
So whether it's
absolutely.
submission, think about when people take their wedding vows, right? Women have to say, right, to
Obey.
obey. So,
Yeah.
there are,
Obey. Dogs obey.
Yeah, trigger words.
but we know it's situational,
Right.
right? Because we
Right,
talk
right,
about
right.
is that as well. So Bruce, if you will, you always say the power to define is the power to
Fulfill.
fulfill.
Absolutely.
And so for us to really have true understanding, right? We have to know what it is that we're talking. We have to know what it is that we're not even willing to do when we find that to be the case. So if you will, so set the table. So let's set a clear definition around what this thing is, and then we'll get into why so many people.
I actually-
Go ahead.
I actually like the two that Di and Caprice put together.
Yeah.
Can I say something real quick before
Yes.
we get into the actual definition of submission? Bruce and I was talking, and we mentioned how in relationships, not just in relationships, but in life, we learn words, right? And we don't even have the proper definition of the word to even have an informed or an engaging discussion about the word. And all along, we were using it out of context.
Yes.
Absolutely.
For example, one
Absolutely.
time I called him passive aggressive, right? And we would laugh at it. when the word called somebody passive aggressive, they took high offense to it.
Yeah.
Because when I hear the word, I'm thinking it's passively aggressive.
Right.
But if you look at the definition, you're like, oh, I should never call anybody this.
Absolutely.
And I can see how they could be offended.
Yeah.
So oftentimes we take precepts, concepts, we take words into relationships. We having full-fledged arguments, and we're not even using this proper word, which is confusing our language in communication and relationships.
Especially when you deal with someone that's extremely literal.
Exactly.
That's a
very good point. Because he goes through that with me.
But the thing is that, I find myself in that all the time because in dealing with someone that's literal.
Bruce always say, but I didn't mean that. But no, Bruce, if you say this, this is the definition of that word. But he always say, if you know my heart, you don't have to question my intent. And that's just a part of building your relationship, getting to know the person. Because you have to understand, and this is for you ladies, because most often men will say something and they don't even mean it. That's not even what they meant. So we gotta, what's my favorite word, Victor? Lean in to understand what that man is saying. But go on with the definition.
Well, I think we all bring up some pertinent points, right? Before we get into the definition. There's a book that says, where your treasures are, your heart will also be.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of time in relationships, we don't invest.
Come on, man.
Right? We don't invest in those relationships by seeking out certain information that may enhance the relationship, that may cause us to ultimately communicate better, to relate better, to understand better. And I think there's a lost piece with respect to folks actually researching, right? There are books, there are a bunch of information out there.
We have
that
fun
will help
researching.
us. Yeah, we do it like we literally do it all the time, right? And I'm gonna let you get to that point.
Words all the time.
We do it all the time now because I have a greater understanding that she is literal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So now it caused me to say, okay, let me look this up because I'm not sure what she means by this.
You
know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean.
And giving some cultural context to it. The English language is the most limited language in the world. And so oftentimes that's why we have high divorce rates. That's why we have a high level of crime and lack of communication, lack of maintaining a job and stability and not understanding politics because of the limitations in language.
Right. So like what Bruce was saying, one of the things that I find is very interesting in relationships is that a lot of times we don't dig deep to find more good.
Yeah.
It's like once you meet that person and the surface stuff and you're happy and this, that, and the other, and you stop there. And then when something may go wrong or left or whatever, it's like, yeah, that person not who I thought they were. But you didn't dig deeper and find out more because it's, you know, I mean,
you see how he talk when I'm on the show?
You spot on.
Invite me on here.
You spot on though. And just to let y'all know, please grab a pen, grab a pen, pad. Make sure y'all taking some.
How did he be doing like that? Oh, I said it. Okay, we gotta be serious.
I'm just checking. Okay. So grab a pen, pad. Make sure y'all take some copious notes.
Yeah, it's gonna be
because we're gonna take our time with this. We're gonna take our time with this.
Somebody say he
we're already prepared to actually do another episode if need be on this particular topic. So let's talk about the definition, right? So Di went on. She jumped in the conversation and said sub. She hit the first piece of this word being submissive, right? That sub, placed under, right? I don't know exactly, but if you can pull up exactly what you said, that would be great. Yeah, so place to place, to be a position.
Position. That's
a position.
That's important. Yeah, position yourself.
I'm glad you said that, right? And then you hit on the other piece of this word submission with mission. To be placed or positioned under a mission.
Absolutely.
Right? So we understand now what the word means. Anybody want to input anything else before we move on?
Only one thing, because the sub piece is the Latin part, right?
Yep.
And in life, we should be submitting ourselves to so much when we talk about principles, when we talk about position, because that posture us to be in place for what we need in life. And I'm gonna leave it there.
So real quick, we also have to remember now when it comes to submitting, ladies, it's not just you all submitting to us.
Mhm.
We're also
Okay, slow down.
Okay. So let's because we gotta set it all up. We want to set some foundation to this thing. So as we move along, people will be able to grasp kind of now the intricacies of this word submission and the responsibilities behind the word submission, right? Mm-hmm. I like how Di put this. She said, we always lose translation when we try to make words fit into our own interpretation. The prefix sub is to put under. That's what I was just saying. Submissiveness from women in relationships is the mere fact of us placing ourselves under the man. What that looks like depends on the man and the relationship, right? And then I'll add this other piece because here's where it all kind of comes together, if you will. Submissiveness comes from recognizing our position. Where there's position, here's what I got out of what you said. Where there's position, there's order.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
There's an order for positioning.
Absolutely.
Right. So let's kind of go from there. Let's talk about positioning, and then let's tap into order, and then let's work our way down the street if we can.
Okay, so I want to go back to when we first married.
Okay.
Because y'all know we go to church, right? But our life is pretty full. Let me just put it there. I actually moved in with Bruce before we got married. But because we were in ministry and I kept hearing this word that Apostle Mike started, which was divine alignment. When I met Bruce, I thought I had order in my life, right? But after meeting him, I saw some enhancements. Mm-hmm. And when I started seeing those enhancements, I trusted the relationship enough to say, I don't want to limit my life to just being his girlfriend. I also felt convicted because I felt like we had something so much more to both of us together than we had just being boyfriend, girlfriend, mm-hmm. right? So I started talking to Bruce about marriage, right? And then he'll listen. He said, yeah, he wanted to get married, but I saw no progress, right? But here I am going to church Sunday after Sunday. Apostle Mike is talking about divine alignment. I started feeling convicted and started saying, Bruce, we can't keep living like this.
Actually won't be convicted.
I was. And not to mention, part of him saying that we needed to be divinely aligned was so that the principles that are set in the Bible,
I see where you're going,
will be able to be manifested in our life. You need an order in order for God's supernatural power to take place in your relationship. And Bruce and I seen it. I mean, we see people walking up to us saying they love our relationship. They see purpose. If you don't align to some system and have some order, then I'm not sure if you have what it takes to fulfill the purpose.
No, I agree. And what I want to express is
how you felt at that time.
No, because in singlehood, right? When you're single, you're leading one. Mm-hmm. You're the leader of one, right? What you must realize while you're single is while you're not necessarily in what we would consider this order that we're about to talk about.
Yeah, because there's nothing wrong with being single.
Exactly. And when you're single, you still should be positioned to submit to something.
Absolutely.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So
are you disciplined enough to just be positioned to that one single solitary?
So while we're always talking about submitting, right, and we have these times where that word becomes a trigger word, what we also lose sight of is that we've been submitting to somebody somewhere at some point.
Yeah.
So why all of a sudden now, when we get into these relationships or these marriage, I should say, we have a problem with submitting, ladies, right? Mm-hmm. So there's a lot to be unpacked here when we talk about this submission piece, right? And I'm gonna jump here and then we're gonna go. All right. There's a book. All of us probably are familiar with it. it says, wives, submit yourselves to your husbands.
Yep.
Let me say what it doesn't say first and foremost. It doesn't say, girlfriends,
Come on now.
submit yourselves to your boyfriends.
Come on now.
It doesn't say that, right? And I'm saying that because there is a clear distinction between a wife and a girlfriend and a boyfriend and a husband.
Yes.
Facts.
Yes.
A clear distinction.
Facts.
Yes.
And they don't require the same level of commitment, the same level of decisiveness,
Absolutely.
the same level of communication.
Absolutely.
They don't require that. But here's the thing. As you move through courting and dating, you should be now looking for signals and signs that identify traits of a husband.
So what you're saying is so loaded. So know this, ladies and gentlemen. So all of us are people of faith. You will hear that echoing every time we sit or stand in front of you because it's who we are and it's how we are. And I believe this episode, our faith is probably going to be more prevalent than any other episode, not because we have the desire to preach to anybody, but if we're going to give context and understanding, what we have to help people understand is that people are upset and misappropriating this word out of sheer ignorance.
Yes.
And so we literally have a responsibility to help people understand that this doesn't even pertain to the overwhelming majority of people who are upset about the word and saying they're not going to do it. So I think that's why you were going. So I just wanted to kind of put that out there. By all means, keep going.
No, you spot on. Here's what I would say. There are, and I think we did an episode on this. We talked about good men, good women.
Absolutely.
Right. There are a couple things that women always say they're looking for in a man. Leadership, protection. Right? Leadership, protection. Provision. Right?
Yep.
So when you understand that these are the things that you're looking for in a man, again, you got to go back to define what does a
that
leader
man look like?
Right? What is a leader? What does protection look like? What does provision look like?
Absolutely.
Right?
For you though.
For you.
Yeah, because you can't. Nobody. Well, people can't because you have good characteristics. But you were tailor-made for me, right? So when we were dating, we decided to keep it casual and allow the relationship to fall organically. I wasn't looking at him as though I was trying to change him, but rather seeking to determine how he can fit into my life.
Yeah.
Right. And oftentimes women get into relationships where they try to change the person that they meet.
Absolutely.
Right. Instead of pulling out those positive characteristics to determine if this is a good husband for me. And then we start badgering and damaging men who aren't for us in the first place.
Stay right there for a second, right? Because what you said was so spot on, right? And some things should be tailor fit, right?
Absolutely.
So we talk one of the foundational pieces and parts of our platform is the power and the absolute necessity. If you're talking about relating, to set standards for that. These are non-negotiables. These are the bedrock. These are the things that you are not willing to go without or do without when it comes to a relationship. And they're going to be tailor-made to each individual.
Yes.
However, this term, this S word that we're talking about, it's not based on our standards.
It's not.
So it's interesting, right? Because people approach it the same way. And what we find when you did your poll is that it looked and it sounded different. To different people, but it can't. Because it's not our standard, it's a higher standard.
Right. That goes back to the video that I was just showing you guys a little earlier. Sometimes the package that you've been praying for is delivered not in the wrapping that you wanted it in. You understand what I'm saying? So if you can meet a person and that person may not be what you're used to, but the more you're there with that person, you're like, this person got pretty much everything it is that I've been wanting. You know what I mean?
I could see that in certain situations, but again, if we go back to principles, the Bible says that the Lord will give you the desires of your heart, and not just that, the blessings of the Lord make rich and no sorrow. When I was dating, right, I was just dating. But when I became serious about who I was dating or more intentional with it, I was looking for that person who was a great fit for me and who I knew that would look like the desire of my heart.
But see, sometimes this is real.
You gotta have faith.
This is real though. This is real. This is real. Sometimes we're wrong in what we desire. We don't
I can
really
see
know.
that sometimes.
We
Yes.
don't really,
That's-
we
I was
think
going
we
there.
want that.
I was going
we
there.
absolutely
I was going-
think. We never trust a big button to smile. I mean, you know what I mean? You like,
No, that's-
oh,
that's-
man,
that's good.
beautiful,
That's good.
beautiful,
That's
da-da-da-da. And then the person you find out that you marry and that you in love with does not even fit that.
So
It's
again,
I agree,
It's
Charles.
good when you
Wait a
get
minute,
both,
though.
though.
Charles
It
said,
is.
Charles said submission should come freely.
but and this is Charles, stay there because that's good. We're talking about that. So this is why it's important, right? When you talk about because females always talk about, well, I want a man who can lead me. We got to
Yeah.
protect me, and he got to this and that. But yet you haven't properly defined what that even looks like, right? For example, a lot of men. Let me say this, and you kind of brought this to my attention. There are a lot of men who are simply unqualified.
Facts.
There are a lot of men. I'm
Facts.
keeping
It's
it
real.
honest,
Facts.
right?
It's real.
I'm not saying that they cannot be qualified.
Absolutely.
I'm just saying they're unqualified,
Especially for this word.
especially for this
Especially
right
for
here,
this word.
right? Because what happens is, right now, you talked about, hey, you got to have faith, give you the desire of your heart. When you start having these desires that you're seeking that don't necessarily line up
Right.
with necessarily
right.
what God has for you,
Right.
that becomes a concern. Because at the end of the day, God will say, okay, if that's your desires, I say I'm gonna give it to you.
But
So,
are you ready for it?
well, not only that, because I want to. So when you talk about, again, when we in this courting state, so in courting and dating, there should be criterias that lead to being submissive automatically for a female, right? That's not the time to be submissive.
Right.
It's the time to now start watching the track record of trust
Say it again.
and how that builds up, right? And this is where I talk about these men who are unqualified, right? When we talk about what makes a good leader, I know one of the things that makes a good leader is someone who knows how to follow.
Absolutely.
That makes a good leader, right?
Absolutely.
Because females often talk about, well, I don't want him controlling me. It's not about us controlling you, because real leaders know how to follow, right? There's been times even with me and Di, right? When me and Di had, matter of fact, I'll give you a good example. When Di first moved in, we got married, right? She expressed to me, I'm feeling some type of way because I'm up under you, this mission, this vision, this new vision of mine, this new vision when I had my own vision, right? So as a leader, right, I say, hey, listen, I want you to go do your thing.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna support and get behind whatever you want to do, right? That's a sign of leadership. I'm saying all this to say I'm gonna give you 12 characteristics you can look at to determine leaders or a good leader, right? Self-awareness. I'm not going to go into them. I'm just going to give them to you right now. We can go into it later. Self-awareness, respect, compassion, vision. Where there's no vision, the people perish.
Absolutely.
So if you messing with somebody, like even with me and Di, that same scenario, she had a vision. While I had a vision as well, and she understood that, now my vision has to be submissive to the vision that I'm allowing this woman to run with. Right?
And then my vision, right, that I had has to be subject to yours.
It has to be that's
it has
good.
to fit into
That's
yours.
good. That's good.
Right?
My fault. That's
so
good.
if I even said it, and because when we talk about finding somebody that's tailor-made for you that you can fall under, ladies, that doesn't mean that you have to give up everything.
You don't.
Right?
You shouldn't have to.
You shouldn't have to, because for me, I even said there are some things that I might be prepared for, but if he's not prepared to receive that side of me, then I should just keep it right there.
Go ahead.
So what you just said when you said your vision has to be subject to his, right?
That's what I
Like
was
that
saying.
in and of itself
Yes.
can make people feel some type of
Yep.
way.
Yep.
But the fact of the matter, if you look at it properly in its context, right? And so again, I did say this will probably be the most faith-filled conversation that we have in front of people. And so if you look at it in its truest sense of the form, right? Eve was taken from Adam's rib, literally.
Mm-hmm.
So your vision, that being subject to his, it doesn't diminish yours. It's the completion of his. It's the other piece, and it's the other part. And when they fit together, it just makes sense anyway.
Because what does it do? It arranges order.
And give me support at
It
the same time.
arranges
I'm
order.
the benefactor.
And guess
I'm
what?
a benefactor.
You know what it also does? It provides a covering.
It does.
It's submission is not about controlling, it's about covering. Go ahead.
Let's back up for a second, right? So Di would not have been able to follow your leadership had she not been willing to listen. A lot of women don't listen. They'll say, I want a man that can lead and da 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 da. But when you start talking,
I think it's bigger than listening.
Submission automatically comes with listening.
But
that's what I'm saying. That's why they don't. But that's why they don't submit.
I think the reason I'm saying it's bigger than listening because it's more women listen than trust.
And to your point,
more women listen. We'll listen.
When you say,
we'll listen to you.
I don't think they hear you though.
When you say,
but again, the reason they don't hear you is because they don't trust you.
Right. So there's a deeper issue.
But that's
a
what I'm
deeper
saying.
issue.
It's more so about trust.
So are they really listening?
They
don't trust you.
They don't trust you.
simplify. You said it in its base form because there are a lot of men out here that don't qualify. They shouldn't be listening.
They
Correct. I was about to say that.
Because there are a lot of dudes who aren't talking about getting
exactly, and the women know that.
Why even engage?
Well, no, that's a whole different.
No.
I'm with them because it's what you said. Remember when you went live the other day?
Mm-hmm.
You said because there are a significant amount of women if they will say I'm not submitting to a man because he's not this or this or this or that, and you say, well, sis, why the hell are you with him?
So let me go back.
That's why you don't have to get mad or diminish that man you're dealing with just because he's not fit for you.
At all.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Somebody pull up the actual definition of submission real quick. Somebody pull it up.
We did.
We started off with it, but we'll put it up again. So let me
post it in the chat.
Yeah, somebody post it in the chat. That's good. Thank you. That's good. Or y'all can post it in the chat. Somebody in the chat can post it.
We all family. Post it in the chat. Whoever said that.
So let me go back to these characteristics of a good man, right? Or quality leader.
And that's what I want to go you. I'm glad you did.
Self-awareness, respect, compassion, vision, communication, learning, agility, right? Collaboration, influence, integrity.
Mm-hmm.
Woo. Integrity. I'm just saying. And some of us will go to places because of our skills that your integrity can't keep you.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad you fixed that because you used to
say it again.
It's integrity. Some of us will go to places because of our skills that our integrity can't keep us.
Mm-hmm.
That's very good.
Mm-hmm.
So your integrity, right? Look for men with integrity. That's what I'm saying. Y'all don't disqualify enough men.
Wait a minute.
Y'all don't disqualify enough. Let me give it courage, gratitude, resilience.
You gotta talk about that disqualification thing.
I do want to get into it.
Yeah,
I absolutely want to get into
women have to
it.
keep their souls preserved, and I
And
have some notes here about the power that we have.
Listen.
So I got resourcefulness because you don't want to be with.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Thank y'all. That's
they
why,
can't make
that's
a
why
way.
I was a gold
They
digger.
can't make a
That's
way.
why I was
You know
a
what I
gold
mean?
digger.
Stop it.
She keeping it
authentic leadership. They got to be an authentic leader.
Absolutely.
Or just
I love
authentic.
Bruce
Just
Hart.
authentic.
I love Bruce Hart. I love how he treat other people.
Emotional maturity. That's something
Facts.
I talk about that.
Facts.
That's good.
Facts.
That's good.
You know, vulnerability.
Yeah.
vulnerability.
Absolutely.
I
So-
appreciate he's vulnerable to me. That's what made me
Absolutely.
trust
You know,
him too.
and just continuous learning, awareness of themselves, and
Self-awareness,
knowing themselves.
I
Yeah.
did study
So-
today. Oh my
See,
God.
here we go.
No,
Here
but listen.
we go.
Go ahead,
Here
go ahead.
we go.
Good.
I'm-
God is good.
I'm naturally skeptical. I'm listening to these lists, and as a man, I don't feel like these are the initial things when they consider me that they're looking at.
What?
I just no.
I
I
agree.
said initially.
I agree.
If
Right.
I allow someone
That's
to
part
get,
of the issue.
because it takes. So first of all,
Well, I can see that because I will be presenting my representative
That's-
anyway. at this
it's
shit.
not even
So,
about
yeah, you're right.
representatives. So
Well-
if we keep it a buck, right? What would you say is the primary thing that the overwhelming majority of women look for first? It's only one or two things.
I'm gonna tell y'all. I'm gonna be honest with y'all.
Please.
Laughter.
No. That you
Can I
made
break
it
it
for
down?
that.
Can I break it down? I'm gonna tell you why
Okay.
it's laughter.
We need
That's
to
why
hear
all
about that in the
these-
chat. That's a question.
That's
in the
why
chat.
all these broke dudes hitting. If you make a girl laugh and
I don't
enjoy
disagree.
herself, she
but
will
guess
stick
what?
with
Guess
you.
what?
You,
Hold
on,
you
hold on,
could be
hold
a
on,
jokester.
hold up.
She'll be cracking up. That's the
Guess what? You know what? She's
Having
right.
fun. Laughing.
But that's why also all these niggas that got money that can't joke hit.
True.
Nah,
But-
Yeah,
they
yeah.
turn women off.
You
But
just
that-
said you a gold digger.
But if he make me laugh, I ain't gonna sit there and be
But-
miserable and take his money.
But again,
He had to make me laugh too.
we talking semantics though.
Okay.
Women like
Because
smiling. I
I'm
promise you,
not
you
saying
tell her a
they
joke
I'm not saying they
and
don't.
not spend no money. She gonna be thinking about.
So
it.
money
I'm not-
before laughing before money.
It's a thin.
So that's what I'm saying,
dog.
right? It's
Come
not
on,
that
dog.
thin.
It's not
Hey,
that
lady.
thin.
Hey, lady.
It's not that
It's
thin.
Comment
not
Watch
that
this,
thin.
Let me
Tell
watch
me
this.
how
Watch this.
y'all feel
Hold on,
about a
watch
man
this.
that
Watch
make
this.
y'all laugh.
You talking about somebody that makes you laugh versus somebody who's a provider. Who
So
can
the
provide
issue-
those-
you-
the
let's just
properties
see.
comes
Yeah,
later.
yeah.
I'm just, the initial impression. If he's on the bus
Mhm.
and he's making you laugh, he doesn't have a shot in hell.
Lies.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna tell you why. Do you know
It's
how many women
romantic,
be on the
Vic.
metro?
It's
and the dude
romantic
beside them
riding the
pull
bus.
up
Ladies,
beside them
ladies,
and they
ladies,
cracking up.
anybody-
You die.
Anybody in the chat
You
right
make
now,
a man
ladies,
cry, you make
Ladies,
a woman cry laughing.
if he makes
That
you laugh,
dude gonna hit.
if he makes you laugh, lives in his mother's basement, and
Let me-
catches the
well, let
bus
me-
to and from McDonald's,
Let me
Women will move that guy.
let me
over.
say this. Let me say
Women ain't moving off.
let's
the potential
ask
no
the
more.
question
This,
first.
y'all get off.
Hold on. Let's
Y'all get
ask the
off
question first, right? Ladies and guys, if you want.
Facts.
What is the initial thing that you're looking for in a man?
Initial,
ladies,
initial,
the
Keep it
initial
surface.
ladies.
what's the initial thing that you're looking for
Yes.
in a man, right? Now let me follow it up with this. Okay. Let's just say you're right.
Mhm.
And laughter is the reason,
Mhm.
or money is the reason they hit.
Mhm.
That's part of the problem.
Facts.
She said laughing gets you in the brother category.
That's what I'm saying.
I can see that.
Right.
Friend zone.
Friend
You
zone.
friend zoning.
It
Friend
depends,
zone.
though.
Stuff you don't make you laugh.
Friend zone.
I'm just saying because we gotta
She
stop.
don't though. I
So
haven't seen it with a person.
When I'm
like
saying
that.
initial impression, I'm talking about when a man walks up to a woman. So ladies, it can't be he has to love God. That's valid, right? But he
Y'all
has
don't
to
hear me
walk
though.
up to you, get your attention, and get your phone number from you to even find out that he loves God. So what is the initial thing? Is it physical appearance, right? Is it monetary, right? Is it you
It
can
could be
tell by the
physical.
car that he drives? So that's what I want to know. The initial thing.
I was joking.
So again,
I'm not, but I am.
right.
what
Bus.
ultimately,
Caprice
right?
know what I'm talking
Ultimately, what I'm saying is
She goes
ultimately. Hold on, guys.
The funny dude. Though.
Ultimately, what I'm saying is this, right? If it's that simple to hit, why men respecting females anyway? Why are you saying you looking for a guy who wants protection when I'm hitting on the first night because I made you laugh?
Facts.
Why you want to cover it or need a
I
covering?
don't think she's looking for that in that circumstance.
But that's my point though.
okay,
So we're talking about lead because we're talking about submission,
right.
right? There's a strategy to lead up to this submission component.
Yeah, but the comment you made, you know how I'm literal, right? It doesn't have to be that cut and dry. Because when you and I met, while like you said, a great husband would have been good, who's a provider. Yes, I'm attracted to that characteristic. I wouldn't initially.
I
think
know,
about
but
that.
I'm going somewhere with it. That's what I'm
Okay.
saying. Hold up, right? What I'm saying is, it shouldn't be that easy. If we're intentionally dating,
Right.
if we're intentionally courting, if we're intentionally saying, all right, it's time for me to stop
I
looking
like
for
what
this.
Monet said. Y'all need to respond to that.
Okay, hold on, Monet. If we're intentionally doing all these things to
Right.
move us to the next phase of
Right.
courting and or dating,
Right.
why are we making it so easy? Or why people making it so easy?
So have me tell it out loud. I'll be right back, fam.
Let's see what Mona says.
So
We look for a man that fits whatever stage we're in
facts.
our own
Facts.
life for the moment. And that, you know what? That's absolutely facts. That's facts. And I appreciate and respect it, right? Because that's ultimately what we're saying, right? But if we're getting back to this word submissiveness, that's not, Monet, to your point. Most of those times when we're in those phases or in those moments, that's not the time for you to even be considering being submissive.
No, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no.
You're right. If you just funny,
hey, listen. So when you submitting, that's when you entering into that I do stage. That's when you, like, when I say entering in that I do stage, that man has already proposed to you. You've already accepted. You setting the date. Because in your heart, your mind, or what have you, that's your husband, that's your wife, and that's that next step that you're about to take.
yeah.
I can't expect a woman to submit to me completely, totally, this, that, and the other, and we're not married.
Walker says physical appearance to your question.
Yeah,
right?
I mean,
what's the first thing you look at? Like,
there's nothing wrong with that.
it's nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely nothing wrong with that. I'm visual, absolutely. I don't want anybody that's funny looking.
Just because you're funny, you can't be funny looking. if you say, right, you know.
So, but I think
King's Cutting Board Podcast. What are we talking about?
I think what you're saying though, it is so critical when we talk about those standards. Like, what are we really doing? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And reverse engineering it. Like, so people go into it expecting stuff that they're not entitled to.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm gonna tell you,
Yeah.
part of that is because when what I've come to found is females, y'all got double standards. You got a standard for the guy that you like.
Oh my day.
No, I'm serious. You got a standard for the guy you like, and then a different standard for everybody else.
It goes to that meme. You ever seen that meme that said the difference between sexual harassment and flirting in the workplace?
Yeah.
And they have big guy looking crazy, and then they have Morris Chestnut or somebody. That's the truth. That's the truth. And that's what, honestly, I hate to say it like this, but that's why men sometimes have a hard time with women, how they view them and how they see them, because it's like sometimes, and we get it, you like what you like, you want what you want. I get that completely. But it's when you start treating them in a manner, treating them in a way as if they're less than. Because you don't fit the mold and you don't look like somebody that, you know, I may be normally attracted to or what have you. I'm not going to treat you any different as far as being disrespectful or whatever the case may be. I'm still going to give you the respect that you deserve and so on and so forth. I'm just not interested in you. That's it.
Right.
But a lot of women don't do that. I'm not saying all, but a lot of women, get away from me. You know what I mean?
The fact that it matters, right? We can parse it on both sides for lack of standards.
Right.
Because typically men, right, it's physically driven, right? And they're willing to entertain, deal with, or be with women who they don't want to be with forever, ever, right? But they're okay with being with for the moment, and you deal with a lot of foolishness, ultimately, that you end up not really wanting to be around in the first place.
Because the woman wants to be with them more than what
we gotta get back to submissive.
Well, it takes two,
right?
So, what
So
I'm saying is,
but if you got a man that is only being with that woman like you just said, for the moment, but the woman is seeing longevity. See, it goes to this thing that I was saying one time, women will create these standards and so on and so forth, right? And so they're looking for a man, say, and I'm just using this generalizing, what have you, 6 foot, whatever, built like this, built like that, or what have you. That's fine. That's fine that's your preference. But when you find that man that fits your preference, that fit the mold that you want, do he see you the same way? Do he want you? Because the same way you don't want that man that's 5'4", you want a man that's 6'2", 6'3", or above. That man that you came across that fits that mold now is looking at you and saying, well, I don't want a woman that's over 100 and whatever pounds.
So,
but I'll be with you for you see what I'm saying? So people preference kind of cross the lines and they don't. You got to treat everybody equal and fairly. If you're not attracted to them, that's fine. Right. But just treat them equally and fairly. It gets sticky.
I completely disagree with that, but I won't get off track because I'm not going to treat everybody equally and fairly. But I mean, we'll circle back. We'll circle back
until they do something for you. Not do. I mean, I respect everybody until they cross the line. But okay, yeah, you're right.
So let's get back to submission because we talking about submission,
right?
I don't know how we got all the way over there.
I don't know. The ball rolled across
because. Right, I talked about this positioning, mm-hmm. right? And I think a lot of times when it comes to submit, well, let me back up. Number one, you should not, when you're courting or dating, you should not be looking for submitting. Mm-hmm. When you're courting or dating, you should be simply tracking the trust.
I'm gonna take it, if you don't mind. I'm gonna take a step
number
back
one.
further. To even be discussing, right? Ladies, if you are considering submitting, men, if you are looking for a woman who submits, understand that the context for this term, for this act, for a woman to submit or for a man to expect a woman to submit falls within the context of faith, right? So be it we talk about us being Christians, you talk about you in Islam. So whether it's the Quran or the Bible, if you don't subscribe to either one of those faith systems, it's not talking to you. There's no reason for you to get bent out of shape. Go figure out something else that works for you and her or for him and you or whatever the case may be. It's not even talking to you.
So that's a good point because to your point, right? Once you cross what we talked about, right? It says wives.
Absolutely. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Talking to a specific person.
Yes.
Right? Submit yourselves to your husbands, to your own husband.
Yeah,
not your boyfriend, not
right?
your boo.
Yeah, to your own husband.
Right?
So again,
it
distinctly identifies exactly who we're talking about when we're talking about submitting. And let me submit this. When you get to that wife and that husband, submission is not contingent upon how that person acts. Mm-hmm. What that person does or doesn't do. You can look at the Quran, you can look at the Bible, you can look at when you get to that point. Yeah, it's not conditioned upon anything because what we also heard in the chat is a lot of people, females in particular, saying, well, what if I don't trust him?
He doesn't.
Or what if he did this? Or what if he did that?
Can I talk about that for a second, though? Because at the end of the day, right, I love how you prefaced it by saying this is for your husband, right? But oftentimes people don't want to submit because they do have trust issues and they also have issues with finding true love.
That's why they get married.
Good point. Because the thing is, if you really love someone, truly love somebody, that automatically involves submission.
But that's why
automatically involves submission.
So again, this is why it's led off.
Absolutely.
We're looking for a quality leader.
Absolutely.
Right? We're let off looking for a quality protector.
But can I back up 1 second on my comment? Because you still right there?
No, go ahead.
Oh. So if I love you, right? That means that I'm putting you first. Am I correct?
Sometimes.
No. Yeah.
Not for everybody.
Not definitely not. No.
I love you could mean he makes a good living and he takes care of me. It
Yeah.
could mean the
I'm
sex.
talking
It can
about
mean-
the
it can
true love.
But there is no more
No.
misunderstood or
Right,
differently
that's what I'm
interpreted
saying,
word
yeah.
in the whole
That's what you
English.
got, yeah.
So you're talking your
No.
concept
No, because what
I'm with you.
you're defining doesn't fall in the context of love.
for you and
Right.
us.
So
No, I'm
that's,
talking about the word.
but again,
But
Doc,
everybody
I
is.
think what's important,
Yeah.
right? This is why we
Facts.
lost in this submission word.
Yep.
Is that we
I'm going
clarify.
somewhere with
That's
pointing
that.
out
But-
like
Okay,
this.
okay.
Because yeah, if you're not in love, then you have not preferred. You got to prefer that person over you. And I'm the reason why I pointed out the love is because Victor said something about it, right? And I'm saying it's in the word because it's not something that I'm making up. That's the only reason why I said the word.
But you
right?
just said the person to be in love, you have to prefer somebody or to submit or whatever. You prefer
yeah. When
some
you
over the other.
when you love somebody, you place them above yourself.
No.
See,
Hold
that-
on.
Because I was getting ready to say.
Hold on.
Which has
Hold
another
on. When you understand love,
There you go.
you place somebody over. 'Cause a
I
lot
was
of
the
That's
Define.
where I'm going.
But
with
you
it.
got. But what I'm saying, you can go there, but you got to say that
You got to put
because
that in
people hear it and they hear one thing and they move
Look,
a
look,
different way.
there. Remember
right?
the literal?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm literal. That's why
No,
I said
but
it
we
like
said-
that.
but it's-
you
but-
guys
but
are adding additional context.
No, babe. When you say love,
Mhm.
people have to understand what you're talking about when you say words such as love.
Right.
Because when you say love ain't never kept nobody married.
And
Love ain't
everybody-
never kept nobody from cheating.
Right.
It should have.
And
I'm not
everybody
saying it
got their
shouldn't,
own
Because I don't
definition.
feel like you're in love. Like if I didn't love you, I would keep thinking about myself in times I want to consider
So,
what I
babe,
want.
so we're not disagreeing with you. Let me
At
be
all.
clear. We're not
At all.
Okay,
disagreeing.
when y'all finish
What we-
submitting your version, I'm gonna go back to why I said it. But go ahead.
So here's what I would submit to you,
Mhm.
right? We understand based on the standard by which the word of God sets for love.
Right.
We're talking about on its global sense. And because so your point, right? You said if you love someone, you put them above yourself.
Right.
There are women right now with black eyes who love the man who dotted their I, who put them above their self of their own well-being.
Mhm.
There are men who love their women who are asking them to carry drugs and go make this run for me. And do if you love me, you're gonna do this for me. And in their mind, that's absolute love.
Mhm.
Right.
Here-
I'm not talking about everybody's
I-
version of love.
I understand.
Okay.
We got that part.
We
But
can-
what we're saying, you got to clarify
You
that for
gotta
the
put
people,
that out
baby.
there.
That's
That's
what
what
we're
we're
saying.
saying.
No way.
We not.
For the people, you got to put that out
That's
there.
a loss right here.
You got to put that out there because people go,
What
like I said,
because I was about to elaborate
Right, go
on
ahead,
why
go ahead,
I was
go ahead.
saying that
Go
if
ahead.
you really love someone, you would prefer them above you, and
Go
use
ahead.
a few examples as to why this should be the case. I didn't use a blanket statement to say that everybody who's in love prefer the other person over them. I'm saying that it should. Everywhere y'all were going with y'all extra comments, that's exactly where I'm going with what I need to say. Because you absolutely should. And a lot of times people want to fall in love, but they're not prepared to put that man above them. Where is what I'm going with that.
Right. Okay.
That's
Right.
true.
So when you fall in
I
love,
get
you
it.
I don't trust is involved, right? Listening is involved. That's all involved in being in a relationship. So as a woman, I'm subject to you every time I love you.
So let me tell you
So-
what I love.
Go ahead.
Let me tell you what I love about what you said, right? Because there are a bunch of men receiving submission and women submitting with complete misappropriation.
Correct. To your
Right.
point about the black
Right.
eyes.
Well, and even above that, right? So when you talk about, I have heard so many women say, I willingly submit to a man. I'm tired of making all these decisions. I'm tired of paying all these bills. I'm tired
And
of
love
doing
is
this.
missing.
Listen, dumping the bills and
Correct.
the decisions on a man isn't submission.
That's where
that's
where-
dysfunctional.
right, right.
That's administrative
That's
stuff.
right,
You understand what I'm
right.
saying? That's not what it looks like.
Mm-mm.
There are also men receiving that say, "Oh, she's submitting to me, you dummy."
Mhm.
No, you just got hit with the okie doke
And
because
guess
you don't
what?
even understand what it is.
Yeah, because I love him. Submission is not a bad word for
At
me.
all.
Allowing him to lead is not a bad word for me. Calling him my boyfriend is not a bad word for me.
But again, what I'm saying, I want to really take our time,
Absolutely.
because again, we gotta one step it, right? So when we're talking about this, I want to make sure they understand we're not talking
Absolutely.
about boyfriend girlfriend,
For sure.
right? Because at that point, you kind of want to be checking out love,
Yes.
respect, listening,
Yeah.
leadership,
Yes.
right? And I think
Morals.
I think morals,
Yes.
Yeah.
integrity.
Absolutely.
I think a lot of times, and you said it, a lot of times because we're so in love,
Mhm.
we're blinded to a lot of these things that are missing,
Yep.
Absolutely.
right? So now this is where there's two standards come in, right? Where you got you got a standard for one guy who you like, then you got a standard that you won't do and break for nobody else
For sure.
Right.
that you're dealing with.
Right.
Is
You know
it
what I'm
okay if we go back to the beauty and submission?
I mean, yes, we're gonna get to all that.
Okay.
I want to make sure we're doing it one step at a time. So the reason I'm saying is I want to take care of this boyfriend girlfriend
For
thing,
sure.
so we can distinguish what you should be looking at before we even cross over into this. Because
Okay.
what we ultimately heard is a lot of people saying, "Well, he don't do this and he don't do that." So my question for those people is, first of all, are y'all married?
Right.
That's the first question I want to ask. Because if you're
If
not, and you already know,
There's some
hold, babe,
expectations
let me
before.
finish, please.
I'm not cutting you off.
So before you get to that point, right? Before you get to the point where you're now considering what they don't or do,
Yeah.
have you taken into account that they may be not qualified? Because if you already having these conversations about what they do and don't do, it's no way you're gonna be able to submit. So if you know you're not gonna be able to submit, why now you having a conversation about what they do? We should be past that point.
So can we crystallize it like this? Let's see if we can come into consensus in this regard. If foundationally we understand that the prerequisite for submission is marriage, if you don't see them as somebody that you would marry, this isn't even something you should be considering.
No,
So
I don't agree with that.
so hold on.
I want to hear this.
So one thing that I peep is that when are we asking this question
What question?
of the person to submit? Meaning, how far along?
He
in
just
this-
said the
You
pre-
shouldn't ask.
No,
Yeah,
no,
you
no,
shouldn't
no,
have
no.
to ask.
No,
I
but
agree.
what I'm saying is you shouldn't be asking at all if you're not married. I agree with that. But I'm just saying, when you just stated something about them qualifying and so on and so forth, what stages are you in? Because right now in today's time, a lot of people are doing microwave love. It's like,
So again, that's
you know
what
I
I'm
mean?
saying.
and they haven't
So
gotten to
There
know the
there
person.
should be some boxes checking off along
Right.
the way where you're building up this trust that you're talking about.
Right.
Integrity, da 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 da
Right.
da
And,
da.
and that's a time
So
thing.
it
though.
is a time.
So-
Some people don't take that time.
Oh, I
to get-
agree.
you know what I
I
mean?
agree with that.
So you're not going to see the true qualities of a person or all of their positives right off the bat.
I
You
think
can.
when we
You can,
I think
you
when
can,
you
but
start
unnecessarily.
quantifying the word submission as a few comments have, I'm not gonna say as you are, but a few comments have, that you now going back to placing submission in a context and boxing it in where we don't want to go. And so that's what made Caprice ask the question, when does submission begin? Right?
Mhm.
I don't think submission begins when you get married. There has to be some level of submission that takes place and posturing well before the marriage.
That's not what I'm saying.
So,
Me neither. But
Okay. Because submission for me, right, it started when I recognized the qualities you had in being my husband. Then I had to, pretty much slow walk. We talked about the power of vulnerability, right? I had to start being more vulnerable, which takes a level of submission to even determine if this is the right man for me. If I fall, will he catch me? And there were a few circumstances that happened before we got married where I had to submit to see if you were even what you needed to be. I couldn't wait till after we got married for that.
So
I'm gonna hand it up. I'm gonna give you an alley-oop. I'm not disagreeing with you saying, because in essence, we agree upon this. A dude who asks a woman to, like, you're a whole clown.
Yeah,
It's like
absolutely.
It's in essence like asking somebody to love you. It's a natural progression of interaction and relating, right?
Mhm.
And so forgive me
Thank you, Jay.
I can't remember the minister's name. It's John, whatever his name is. He had a clip out, and he was saying, so the Bible says a man who finds a wife finds a good
I was
thing
going to mention
and
that.
obtain favor from
I was
the Lord.
already a wife.
And that favor, that's the point. When you it's not when you say I do it.
Correct.
It's when you find her.
Exactly.
Right. And so the submission is a natural progression of finding the person and a recognition, the understanding, a divine connection of this person aligns with who I am, why I am, and you understand this is supposed to be. Right. So go ahead.
No, so
it would have been crazy for me to look at you and be like, I'm gonna submit as soon as you give me that ring and we walk down the aisle.
No, but what I and that's why I'm saying I wasn't quantifying. What I'm simply saying is there are things that you looked at that caused you to now trust me with your vulnerability. Right? At that point, though, I had no right to look for or expect you to be submissive because it wasn't a requirement.
I agree.
Right? It wasn't a commandment.
You bring it. So
that's what I'm saying.
I'm curious, right? You're married. I've been married before. You talked about the men that qualify for submission. Have you ever looked for it? Because I haven't.
Look for submission?
Yeah. What I would submit
He might have
to
had to if I kept it back. I mean, like there have been times we had to question my submission.
but what I mean to you is
just so. But I think that's a great point because. Again, what we have to understand about this is that every lesson unlearned will be repeated.
Absolutely.
So if we have these moments where females haven't been taught to or how to submit, then it's absolutely we're gonna run into some challenges, right? We're gonna run into because it's different.
It is.
It's not hard. Well, that's something I used to always say for her in our relationship because we would come from two different places. It's not hard. It's just different.
Right. A lot of people not comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Right.
So when things are different, you know what I
Facts.
mean?
I'm not comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Because see, some
Not
things,
many people are.
but that's growth. Because sometimes you put in a situation to grow. So everybody, you know, and I may disagree with you guys on certain things or whatever, because everybody is not gonna come how you want them to come.
I agree.
But it doesn't mean that their outcome isn't going to be what you desire.
He was a wreck when I met him.
You know what I mean? You see that? So it's like that diamond in the rough. You know what I mean? Some people don't want to put in the work for that diamond in the rough, and that's fine. You can go and get all the diamond chips and this, that, and the other and be happy. But then that diamond in the rough, you know, damn, this person
I'm glad you used that term.
It was a mess when I got him.
And
But
so,
now,
a lot of women
use perm too, though.
Hey, go ahead.
A lot of women are diamond in the rough, but if you were to call them that, they would be offended.
Well, they wouldn't admit to that.
They don't even want to give enough credit.
It would be a problem.
It's so hard for a woman to even admit that a man made her better.
Well, listen, that goes back to our previous topic.
Street sweeper.
I
Street
held
sweeper
out
on
there.
that.
I held out there that y'all think y'all are better than us to begin with.
Well,
But
don't go there.
when
Don't go there.
first
Stand
met,
on that.
We talked about the power of vulnerability.
But
Right? There's so much power. Women, y'all already said it before, women hold the key. They
But
hold
watch
the
this.
power.
Watch this. The same power that's in vulnerability is the same power that's in submissiveness.
That's where I was going with this. That's where I
But
was going with this.
I think some
The same power, and a lot of females. Don't shoot the messenger. A lot of females think the power is in the
Oh, yeah.
Well,
and while sometimes
I mean,
it can be, it got some strength. He got some strength. He got strength. But guess what? Here's the thing. Here's the thing.
Sometimes.
Here's the thing. What separates you from somebody else who has the same strength?
Whoa.
That's crazy. That's
Pause.
good.
Pause. That goes
I'm
back.
just saying.
That goes back to that question that I asked.
Mhm.
What is it that a man can get from a girlfriend or a woman he dating that he can't? I mean, that he can get from a wife that he can't get from a girlfriend.
Mhm.
And you know the answer that came?
Vulnerability.
No,
What?
God's favor.
and that's the truth.
Oh, yeah. Right.
That's
So
Somebody
you see what I'm
unique-
saying?
Right.
Unique.
Somebody
So
read-
That's the only
That's
answer.
all
That's the
about it.
only
That's
answer.
the only
about
answer.
Right. But that's the thing. You see what I'm saying? So it's some things that, you know, like for me, right? I told you I started off studying Islam back in '89,
Mhm.
and I studied, for a while. We didn't just
For about
study
a year.
Islam; we studied Christianity, other things, right? And I got to the point where I said, you know what? Man-made, blah blah blah. This is my personal. This ain't got nothing to do with you.
Mhm.
Personal. I know there is a God,
Mhm.
but I don't trust men enough
Mhm.
to believe the things that have come to me
Mhm.
because I've seen man 54 years do dirt.
Mhm.
Not all men, but a lot of men. And that's not to say that there aren't any good men
I
out
actually
there.
like what you're
You see
saying
what I'm
right
saying?
now, because
So-
you making me put me in the mindset of those hurt women that don't want to be vulnerable.
You see what I'm getting at?
Absolutely.
You see what I'm getting at?
It all,
So-
it all goes back to this trust piece.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I
Gotta
keep,
trust.
emphasizing this word because as we transition,
Mhm.
right, without quantifying submission, we got to be able to make sure we're trusting this transition and the person that we now have the requirement to
It
submit
is.
to.
I
Right.
knew you were gonna hand
'Cause
off to me
yeah.
perfectly, right? Because I'm gonna take what it goes back to is the foundation of our platform and its standards. So you talked about sifting through to get to the
Mhm.
diamonds in the rough. I'm not willing to do it
Right. You don't have
because
to.
there's too much at
Mhm.
stake, right?
Mhm.
And it's because when I have my standards, I don't have to sift through dirt to
Mhm.
get to diamonds when I know what a diamond looks like.
Hello.
Time out, Paul.
And you
Keep-
go
hold
back.
on, hold on. I'm gonna let him go. I'm gonna let him go. But Paul, go ahead.
I'm next.
And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that, but at 48 years old, I'm not willing to take on projects because of what my standards are. I know if
We
she
got
does
married
not
in the
look
morning.
like this, sound like this, look like this, have that criteria, she might be phenomenal, just not for me.
Right.
And then you
That's
also
true.
mentioned that people got to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. So I'm gonna speak from the woman's side.
Mhm.
It's so much easier when life is so much easier when I submit to Bruce.
Right.
I'm unleashing the power to be the best version of myself.
But
I
do
don't have to fake or front or create a representative for Bruce. I'm myself.
okay, so first, do you know what that does for him? That makes life a lot easier for him.
Really?
I'm gonna disagree with that.
When a woman
Really?
submits
I
to
mean,
you,
in its context, yes, but so Bruce,
oh my
so what I'm
Let him break it down.
so what I'm
That
gonna
was good,
say is yes, but right?
Mhm.
Yes for the order of things.
Mhm.
The other piece and the other part of that scripture is women submit yourselves to your husbands. Husbands, love your wives.
Love
as Christ
your wives.
loves the
Absolutely.
church. For any man who understands the power and the gravity
He's saying the same thing.
and the
you said.
magnitude of that. Hold on, no.
Go ahead.
That's why I said yes, but
Go ahead.
yes, it's a lot of dudes who be like, I'm good. I stay out here with my girlfriends because that is unfailing. That is unceasing. That's like the parable in the Bible. I think it was a prophet when he had her marry a harlot and said, go get her. I'm not doing that. You understand what I'm saying?
God take
If you think about the things that we do and don't do and how often we do and don't do them, and we still experience perfect love, for my charge to be to love a woman in that context, brother, let me tell you something. That's not something that you sign up for easily, which is why I say to you, I'm not sifting through dirt to get the diamonds.
So all diamonds are in dirt.
I disagree.
You're not gonna walk out here in where diamond mines are and just see a shining rock and that's a diamond.
Right.
You take it out.
It's a jewelry store at the
But
mall.
that, oh,
It's
so
actually two of
somebody
them.
else. So in other words, you say you let somebody else mine for it.
No.
You gonna get
So what I'm saying to
Bruce
what I'm
probably
saying to you, it depends on where you go and where you look.
Well, that's true. That's
I was
true.
about to
I
say
will
that.
agree with you on that,
Bruce-
brother. I will
Let's
agree with
be
you
clear.
on that.
Bruce
Now.
had
I
met
agree
me
with you.
years ago, then that would have been a narrative. No,
Oh.
seriously, let's be clear. That would have been a narrative. Bruce didn't have to break through that much. With that much.
You gotta
I was
ask
a
Bruce
diamond.
that. You gotta
He
ask
told
Bruce
me
that.
that. He told me that.
So let
He
me
told
say
that.
this. Let me say this.
Anyway, get back to submission, bro.
I
Let me-
was
let
no
me-
good for Bruce a
let me-
long time
let me-
ago.
Right. So that's the thing. So understand, while you was a diamond, right? In the initial moments of us meeting, it's hard to identify diamonds when they got so much coal around them,
There you
I
go.
can see that.
right? So
That ain't my narrative though.
so So while to and that goes back really to what you were saying, right?
Absolutely.
You can have both sides of those situations,
Absolutely.
right? And I think what has to become now the new norm is that regardless of what side you fall on, females, you got to be accountable for that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right?
That's
Because
true.
if you
That's
don't,
true.
you're going to find men now who going to have a contrary sustain about how they feel about you, because you're not accountable for even this. Like, I'm already committing to you saying that you're a diamond,
Mm-hmm.
but yet you still not taking account for the stuff that I had to deal with for me to understand and recognize that you were a diamond.
To your point, without that accountability,
Mm-hmm.
ladies, the man that you would submit to wants nothing to do with you.
Wow.
I
And
said
do
it
mean
earlier.
nothing.
I said it earlier.
I did say
I
I'm
said
not
it.
willing to
Wow.
say.
Hey,
I did
hey.
say I'm not willing to sift through dirt to get to
Hey, did I said it earlier.
And so again,
I said it
it's a
earlier.
male perspective, right? 'Cause
Right.
females, y'all, again, I'll repeat it. Y'all think y'all know,
Facts.
and a lot of times y'all don't,
Facts.
because it's everybody's playing a game out here right now.
Right.
Everybody's playing a game,
A lot of people.
right? And what we've now come to realize is that females play the game just as well as guys
They
do,
do.
and sometimes even better,
Absolutely.
right? But what you got to realize, females, is that guys recognize that. We're not blind to that. fact.
Everybody's not green.
Everybody's
not
We're
green.
not blind to that fact, right? So men will know stuff about females and won't even say
Won't
nothing.
say it.
Well,
Vice versa.
I know, but I know some guys that
No.
have known women. Oh, I know she was with this one. She would never say anything, but he's cool with it. But he's not saying anything. So when we say a lot of times it's stuff that we know, because let's keep it a buck. Guys talk. There's some guys that run their mouth like women. I hate to use that like that, but there's some guys that run their mouth like women.
I'm not surprised.
So
we also, from that accountability standpoint, right? So if we're going to talk about accountability, we have to own the fact that men also don't give women the feedback that you all give us. What we tend to do, if you're not what we want or how we want, we tend to just keep it moving, or we tend to keep it to ourselves, and that's oftentimes that's a matter of dysfunctional relationships. What we've talked about is often women don't want to hear that. They're not receptive of that. They get defensive when we say what our issues or our concerns are about you, and it tends to turn into, well, you don't, right? Or well, I only, or whatever the case may be. And so oftentimes you all don't get the feedback that we get to grow and build upon.
I can see
Right?
that.
Yeah.
some guys are preservers, meaning they don't want that woman as far as marriage or what have you, and they'll put that space in between them, but they keep an open door to where they can keep going back. You know what I mean? So they preserve in that situation. And one of the reasons why some guys do that is because that woman may be a great woman, but she is not 100% what they want. You see what I'm saying? Whether it be physically or facial, whatever the case may be.
I'm not even gonna say that. I'm not even gonna say that. I think it could be an instance where they've identified a great woman, but because access was made so easy, they don't need to make him a wife.
That may be true too. That may be true too. I won't disagree.
I'm just
with
saying.
that. I will
Yeah,
not.
that's-
I mean, I
And
won't
then,
disagree with that.
let me be clear. There are a lot of great women out here.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it is.
There, I have, and we all probably can attest to this, right? I have, you have, all ran into some people we would consider marriage quality,
Mhm.
right? But because the access, and this, I share this with you. If you wouldn't have put a demand on our relationship and said, "No, we're not gonna keep doing this,"
But can I?
I think I'm gonna give you a great hand though.
Okay.
One of the things when I was thinking about this that I found really frustrating, and I wrote this down: the principles, the principles in the institution designed to bring us together are separating us.
Yeah, I agree with
And
that.
so, to your point, right? Generally
Definitely.
speaking, men aren't looking for marriage.
Mhm.
We're looking for access. We're looking for
That's it.
companionship. But here's the okie doke, and this is part of this platform. What bothers me in terms of the state of relationships between black men and black women, if we're talking about spirituality, I believe it is a design of the enemy.
Yeah.
Black men and black women are at odds. Our parents and our grandparents didn't talk to each other like
Yeah.
this.
Right.
They didn't talk about, oh, you can't take me here on the first date.
Mhm.
And dudes wasn't talking about,
Facts.
well, you not gonna do this and you
Facts.
not. This was not happening. So if it's happening, we have to see what's going on.
So,
And so
what-
for us, hold on.
go ahead.
I'm gonna tie a bow on it. For us not looking for marriage, we're missing out on the best part of it. That's the favor of God.
I agree.
But-
Let me
but-
go
but-
back.
but-
Hold on,
I'm-
because he
I'm
went
passing
on.
to you.
I want
I'm
to go right
correct it.
here.
I just want to
I was
correct
next.
stuff.
I got to
Go
go
ahead.
back though, because you about to comment.
No,
on
no,
what
it
you
ain't
got.
gonna be long. I don't think what I was gonna say is that well, ladies first. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, because it ain't even know what he said.
No, all I was gonna say is because he said men aren't looking for marriage or what have you. I disagree with that. Boys aren't looking for marriage.
Mm.
No, I'm a
Boys
grown
are-
damn man, and
Right.
I wasn't looking for marriage.
Yeah, I wasn't looking for marriage.
Nah, bro.
I was not
Listen,
looking for bro.
Listen,
Yeah, nah, bro.
I know what
so
you're saying.
You get what I'm saying.
I'm about to be with Vic
So
on this.
It's not to say we won't get married, but
Yeah,
I'm saying is we're not out here.
but we
seeking
don't
it out.
hunt it. We don't hunt for
That's
marriage.
all we're saying.
Right. Okay. Go ahead.
I gotta go back to something on the context of what Bruce was saying, and also what you said, and because it really hits my heart. And you know, I love you like a brother, right?
Absolutely.
Victor and I always had this a small debate. So when he say that he don't want to marry or be with someone where they're not praying to the same God, or when he make the cat comment, and also like he said he wouldn't he don't want to look for a diamond in the rough. You know, for me, it hurts my heart that a person as gifted as you are wouldn't want to meet somebody that may not be all the way a diamond and help to protect, to preserve her, to chisel. And you say you just don't feel like it because you done been through a lot, and that's fine. It's your preference, right? But the calling that you have on your life for anybody, right? It's probably more beneficial than what you desire for yourself.
So, and I'm gonna tie a bow and I'm gonna hand it off on Bruce to tie
Well, I
a
got
bow
one more
because we
thing,
can
and it's
keep-
gonna be
because
what
we
Bruce
keep
about to
going.
say next because I got that comment off his notes.
What I mean what I mean by that, right? When we talk about equally yoked, right?
Mhm.
So what really truly drew me to the woman that I love was the work that she done and the accountability that she took for the experiences that she had.
See what I'm saying?
So what I mean by that, because I've done that as a man and most don't.
Mhm.
I'm fully aware of my challenges, my strengths, and my flaws. Go ahead, bro. Go ahead,
Well,
because I
That's
his
interesting.
leg
It's
belt.
interesting that he said though. It's interesting
this
what
is
you
gonna be
said.
his
But go ahead.
segue though. But my point of saying all this, and this is the very reason why some women have challenges in being able to submit. Simply, sometimes they don't even feel like they're good enough for certain men, right? Because you got that caveat of women who don't feel like there are times where sometimes I feel like because Bruce is so good to me,
Right.
I don't deserve this.
Right.
And so sometimes I back up and have apprehension in certain areas, and he'll pull me back and be like, babe, you're everything I need, everything I desire in a woman. But he has to, that's why I trust him enough to be vulnerable, because where I'm short, he built me up.
I think
I'm sorry because we keep going back. So what I'm saying, so what drew me to her is not that she was perfect, just that she was perfect for me.
Yes.
So it doesn't mean that we're. So remember, when we started this podcast to the point of how we better each other, I was like, oh, I don't need anybody. I've completely changed my life. Absolutely, because it's an understanding of the need and the completion.
So-
Yes.
And it's the balance.
Yeah. So let me be clear that, and this is no shot or shade. Most men, if they're honest, would rather deal with that type of female than a female they want to put work
Absolutely.
into. And I'm saying that to say this. More females have to stop waiting on this guy and start preparing themselves for this
Come
guy.
on, and that's what she did. So when I
Right.
say I'm not-
That's good.
Yeah,
When I
because a lot of times, because we talk about how much pressure is on the male, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of times, females want to get in relationship with this patient guy who's willing to deal with all the baggage.
And
Right.
that impacts the relationship.
And that impacts the relationship.
He
And
caters
if
to needs.
you don't have that rare guy
Yeah.
who's willing to do that, it's gonna be tough.
Yep.
So why wait? Why wait for Victor to come along versus saying I'm gonna be prepared when Victor comes
Oh,
along?
that's
Especially,
but you know,
especially
but-
with so many women. Hold on, 'cause
I'm
I want to
just
give a quick
saying.
That's
analogy.
good. That's
Especially
good.
for so many women when their submission looks like this.
Don't drop your sound.
Please don't drop us. Exactly.
A bunch
Exactly.
of luggage.
Here you
Hey,
go.
a bunch.
I want
A bunch of
I'm gonna give you
take
all
all
of
this
this.
stuff
So
off my
I'm gonna
plate.
be realistic.
And you can't be
own
mad.
all of
And you can't be mad that I'm coming
Hold
with
on.
this.
So I used to deal with a guy, right? And this is good because it's a part of submission. When I used to deal with this guy, right? I started getting mad because he had money, right? I started getting mad, like knowing the level of what he could have supported me in. I was like, why you can't give me more, right? He said, because if I wasn't so busy taking care of your needs, I could start satisfying your wants. Do you know how bad that hurt me? To be in a relationship where
That's
I'm
deep.
creating the environment or the
That's
culture
deep.
to need this guy or he need me, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Instead of wanting each other. Because we become burdensome for men when we are needy.
But
like
I think
that.
that people, a lot of times, people underestimate the power of unconditional love. And I'm not saying that love when somebody's beating on you and you still love them. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the pure essence of love. When your actions are there on both sides. You know what I'm saying? But there's this that, oh yeah, I love them to death. But you know, they don't do this. I don't know. And then the man is like, yeah, I love her to death, but she don't cook.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
Right.
it's like, if you just cut all of that out, focus on, in my opinion,
Mhm.
if you focus on each other,
Yeah.
you start to take on the positives
It's-
of the spouse.
Well, your
or
power
the person
becomes
that you with.
supernatural too, because
Because
I be
it-
tired sometimes, right?
But the thing-
I think about my love
But
for
we
him.
But the
we talk,
thing is-
we talk about
And
two
it makes
different
me
things,
submit.
though.
But no. This
Go ahead.
is the submission part. So whatever she may have been lacking, that she was like, I love her to death, but she this, that, and the other. She starts submitting and taking on those positives that she
Absolutely.
see in you.
Mhm.
Oh, he's great with kids. He's this, he's that.
Absolutely.
And because
We wanna
her
spend more
love
time
for
with the
you,
kids
right?
now.
Her love for you, she starts seeing the joy in the kids that you see.
So let me.
And it's
I wanna-
weird how
I
that
wanna-
works
I wanna
sometimes.
jump in because it continues to come back to standards,
Mhm.
right? And so for me, the reason why I'm not willing to sift through the dirt for diamonds is because I'm unapologetically looking for purpose. That is the thing that's going to sustain itself above the love and the romance and the sex and the trips and the what is it
That's
that
what
we're
I'm
designed
saying.
to come together
So
to do.
yeah.
And understanding that I'm not going to fault anybody. So the purpose is that when you hear this is the individual for me, that you love them in that space, in that place. What I know is that's not going to be in the gutter. That's not going to be in the dirt because there's too much in between here and there to come up to what we have to do at this point in 48 plus years in life, right? And so there's going to be a part two, right? Because this is so good. We owe it to ourselves.
Yeah, we
Because
already-
here's the thing. Listen, selfishly, this betters us before anybody that's watching, who's
Comment.
tuning in,
Mhm.
who commenting. This makes it better for the people that we love and for ourselves. So there will be a part two. So Bruce, you come tie a bow on this thing for us, man. Bring us
Because
home with whatever else you want to share.
I want that
Um,
audience.
and then
I want that audience. I think it'd be real
then
cool
close
to
us
that.
out.
Speak on
We
it. Speak
definitely
on it.
have that audience.
I think that'd be a good one.
Examples of true submission.
I think that would be a
Because it
good
ain't getting on my being a sex slave every night either.
It's not
So-
nothing to do
Sorry,
with it.
I'm lying. It is.
So I think what I attempted for us to cover was the initial phase of before we even get to submission,
Absolutely.
Mhm.
or the question or concern or
Absolutely.
considering of submission, because I wanted to really dispel a lot of the misnomer about this word submission first and foremost. Then I also wanted to clarify some things about what you should be looking for as you're transitioning to the point of being submitting, of submitting, which ultimately, to your point, while it may not be at the point of marriage, right, where you're entering in or transitioning to submitting, because you could be in a serious relationship,
Absolutely.
right, and now start submitting to the person you're in a relationship with. That's not a bad thing. What I ultimately want you guys to do is start really defining what the qualified man and female is for you.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Define that. Like really take a moment, list it out. Hey, do they have this quality? Do they have this quality as a leader? Do they have this quality as a visionary? Do they have this quality as somebody being trustworthy? Do they have this quality as somebody being integral?
Absolutely.
Right. List those things out.
Absolutely.
And then what it'll help you do, it'll help you better manage your standards while sifting out the unqualified folks.
Absolutely.
Question: are you saying how many boxes should be checked off?
That's up to you.
Are you saying it should be all of them? Or should they list them in priority?
So it kind of, I don't think they necessarily need to be priority, but I think
what's most important?
I think what's most important. So you can prioritize them. I'm not telling you not to or whether to, right? I'm telling you make the list because I believe if you make the list, you'll now have a list of standards that can guide you through these moments.
A starting point.
A starting point. Because what happens is we talked about, right, what love is looking like lust.
Right.
And lust is looking like love.
Right.
Right. When we know at the end of the day, this person ain't check off all these boxes, but I'm still qualifying them over here to be submissive and vulnerable and da-da-da-da-da. Why?
Yeah.
Why?
And I'm definitely going through that.
This is why I'm saying. This is why I'm saying when we start to do this, right, we'll start now preparing for the victors. Right? We'll start making that transition easier where they don't have to worry about your needs and can now provide for your wants. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we gotta start preparing for these things, right? We out here just going with the flow. It's all about the day. Today I feel like, man, that's what we're gonna do. And then we don't think about the consequences. You always say this.
I got
every time you commit to do something, it's gonna always provide a paycheck an invoice on the ladder on the back end.
I think the word settle is the I forgot what I was about to say.
But you know what though?
Oh, it's the opposite word to subject. I mean submit.
But
I will talk about that next episode.
Real quick, I think sometimes people use that word settle in a bad way. I think a lot of times you're not going to find a perfect person that you can sit there and sculpt out, quote unquote, like a Jesus. But you can find somebody that's perfect for you.
But that's not settling.
You know what I mean? No. But the thing is, I think sometimes when they create that list, a lot of times women create a list, man, and that list keep growing and growing.
That's not what
I'm not saying it's you.
Yeah,
I'm not saying what you said.
It's just a
right.
guy.
I'm not saying what you said. I'm just saying they sometimes when they create that list, they can get carried away.
But the list. Let me be clear. The list I'm telling you to construct is the list of qualities for a qualified leader,
and be realistic about.
This is what you need: a qualified provider, right? A qualified protector. That's the list I'm telling you, because that list should not change.
Right.
There should not be no selling of that list.
Some women may not see those characteristics because they're not allowing those characteristics to be at the forefront.
I'm glad you pointed that out.
They won't let them leave.
Don't put swag on your list.
I'm glad you pointed that out.
Some men ain't even bring it out.
I'm glad you pointed that out.
Why would they provide if you're a user?
I'm glad you pointed that out because in most cases,
good. Wow.
In most cases, this list that I'm talking about, it's going to be identifiable in public.
Other piece.
It's going to be identifiable in public. The people that like for example, when we talk about what makes a good leader, this influence piece, you can recognize that in public.
Without saying we're gonna rap
This
for
integrity,
real. We're gonna rap for
integrity,
real, like
right.
you're gonna put a bow on it. So you said be realistic. I'm gonna
Yeah, be
respectfully
realistic.
disagree.
So you can't be realistic.
Hear me
you
out.
Be fantasy.
No.
Faith.
What I'm saying to you is, generally speaking, oftentimes when women find the man that qualifies and worthy of submission, the reflex reaction is he seems too good to be true. Because it's not because he loved God. He respects me. He cares for his children. He has a prayer life.
You can't end with that comment.
Well, I'm gonna hand it off.
It's open-ended.
So what I'm saying, the reason why I'm saying that, don't be reasonable.
I got so much to say with that.
But we're gonna the reason why I'm saying don't, because reasonable often isn't our standard. We set our expectations too low, ladies.
Yes.
And if that does seem, then you need to rise up. Then you have to be accountable and measure up and make sure you meet the merit for a man who is who you say you want. Because I will say again, if not, we don't want anything to
Say
do.
that again, though. Say that again. Hold on, pause.
All right, go
Say
ahead.
that again about what you just said, because that's a key part. Not to stretch this out, but the woman has to rise up.
We both have to.
No. I
have
agree
to,
with that.
though.
I agree with that. But
We
what I'm
both have
saying
to.
is, if she's making a list of high standards, so to speak, right? High standards where she wants this. She can't be down
Well,
here.
here's what
She got to rise
here's
up,
what I'm-
and the man, like
this-
you said,
this is what I'm
the
saying.
man got to rise up too.
When it comes to submission, and this is where I'm gonna throw the alley-oop to Bruce.
I'm gonna say my one thing.
The standards aren't your own. The
Correct.
standards are according to the faith system which you're subscribing to.
Yeah.
Right.
And so what I'm saying
Right.
is, according to whether if you're of Islam, if you're a Christian,
Right.
a husband should look a certain way. And if
I
he does
agree.
not, then he's not worthy of your submission.
I agree.
For
That's
a
the same
man,
with my
a woman who he should love as Christ loved the church should look a certain way. And I don't mean
Yes.
appearance.
Right.
I'm talking about in preparedness,
Yes.
which is why
I
I'm not willing to
agree.
sift through the damn
I
dirt.
agree.
So Bruce, take us home for real, because we're doing the after party after the after party. So Bruce, tie a bow on this thing.
Okay, this is what Bruce has to say. So,
Bruce, go ahead.
first and foremost, no, seriously, ladies, I just want to say this. I was one of those people that said Bruce was too good to be true, right? The spirit checked me. Why is he too good to be true for you? We have to change that narrative, and we have to operate in faith where we're able to say that Bruce is everything I deserve, everything I wanted in life. I deserve a man like Bruce, because oftentimes women feel like they've done so much, or they've been so hurt, or they keep running into bad relationships that they don't deserve a good man. I dare y'all to posture yourself where you're saying, "Oh, that good man coming. Oh, I know he coming." Every day you wake up, know that good man coming. That's all I got.
So Mona, I'm gonna leave with Mona. Mona actually said, create a running list, and I think that's a great idea.
That
Mona.
is, because and your desires change.
But what I ask, because the list, what I'm ultimately saying is the list should be based on one principle and two characteristics of what you're looking for in a husband, right? Love, respect, integrity, right? Leadership, right? Make that list. That list shouldn't change, right? While you can add to it, I don't think you absolutely should settle for anything on that particular type of list. And I'm saying that because, and I'm not saying it has to be like 100% the leader, because there's still opportunity to learn. To your point,
Right.
it's not the perfect person,
Right.
but
That's
he should
all
have
I'm
some
saying.
characteristics.
He definitely
of
should
leadership,
have
some characteristics
Right.
of
Some
trustworthiness.
integrity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's still, we can build upon it.
character.
Yeah, but when you start adjusting your list, scratching stuff off,
Right.
that's where we start messing
I'm
up.
glad you said
Yeah,
that. Though.
so
build something to build.
Build something to build on. So next week, what I want to get into is now transitioning into what submission looks like for the husband and the wife.
Absolutely.
Right, and really dive into that. I know you're not married, But like I said,
I
just
did my
based on
homework.
this
I did my
conversation,
homework.
right? This conversation, we understand how to prepare.
Oh yeah, y'all
to
gonna
be
help
the
me on
husband
this
and the
one.
wife.
Y'all gonna
You know
help
what
me
I'm
on
saying?
this
Yeah.
one.
So,
We don't know. We still trying to figure it out.
hey, and by the way,
We figuring it out together.
continue to chop it up in the chat
Absolutely.
as it relates to this particular
Definitely.
conversation. Like I said again, next week we're gonna kick it off with what it looks like for a husband and a wife to now be submitting or that submission piece. So give us some stuff give us some things, some thoughts that y'all have with respect to the conversation, so we can bring some of that stuff up when we get back next week, man. We appreciate y'all.
Love y'all.
Man, I'm gonna tell you, y'all doing I'm looking at the screen. Y'all doing an amazing job. Y'all doing an amazing job, man, with just the engagement, the input. All of this stuff makes what we do worthwhile. It helps grow us as well. It helps grow us. So none of what y'all saying it's ever being judged, right? It's always being utilized to help build who we are, to continue to help build who you are. So we thank y'all.
Absolutely.
And remember, all we looking for is some peace and a peace. Peace.
See y'all later.
I don't want to be.
Yes, you do.
Lies. You
Lies.
just said it every night.
You want peace? You want some peace?